All right, golfers. Today we're talking about topping the golf ball. Why does it happen, and what are all the reasons and things that cause that? And if you haven't seen our previous video where we talk about chunking the golf ball, hitting behind the golf ball, please check that out. But this one we're talking about topping. So why do we hit the top? All right, guys. So reason number one, why we top the golf ball, complete opposite of chunking. For those of you that watched that video, okay. So we have our posture, we're at our dress, and as we're hitting the golf ball, we stand up. Okay, so if that's you, you got to do the complete opposite, which is get lower. Okay, now you might be coming taller because you're straightening your legs too soon, or you're coming taller because you're standing taller with your upper body. Okay, so whatever reason that is for you, you can film yourself to see. But if it's your upper body, try to feel like your upper body goes down through impact. If it's your lower body, feel like your knees stay kind of bent longer as your chest stays down longer. Okay, we do have a stand-up move in our finish for our golf swing and the follow-through. However, a lot of people stand up at impact. You actually need to stay in your posture through impact and even halfway into your follow-through, then we come up. Okay, so you can hit a lot of shots where you feel like kind of like a slap shot for those that are hockey people. Okay, you feel wide and wide. In a slap shot, if I was to stand up, I could not hit the ground. Okay, I couldn't get that flex on the hockey stick to have a powerful slap shot. It's kind of what we want to feel here. Okay, you can also split grip. That forces you to stay down through the shot because you can't just flick your wrist at it. You actually have to get lower to hit the ground. So feeling like you're hitting some slap shots is a good drill. So you can set up to this and just kind of feel like you just brush the ground. It's not an easy way to hit the golf ball, but it's a good drill that forces you to stay down. Okay, then you can slowly bring your grip over time. Okay, let's say you're hitting 20 golf balls every 2-3 shots. You can bring your grip closer and feel the same feeling, staying low and wide, and then you come up. Okay, let's move on to reason number two. Reason number two is our head moving towards the target too much or at all, and that brings our landing spot for our club forwards. Okay, so if we get too far forwards, the club's gonna land here, except when you set up to the golf ball, the ball is in the way in our journey for the club to land forwards, and we hit the top. Okay, this is not a common issue, but there are people that do this, that move too much towards the target with their upper body, and then they're hitting the top of the ball. Okay, if your ball position is too far back, that could also be a reason for hitting the top. Usually, however, that causes people to get behind it uh, and lean back. Okay, so ball position could also be a reason. Let's move on to the next one. We're looking at our club head and our hands. So in the chunking video, we talked about the club releasing too early. Here it's the exact opposite. We hinge our wrist and we turn. As we're turning back, we hold on to the club for way too long, and the club is too high in the air. We need to release the club so it can touch the ground. So if you see, as I hinge my wrist, the club goes in the air. I didn't sacrifice my head in terms of standing up or moving to the left, so those are good. However, I cannot hit the ground if I don't let my hands go back to kind of where they started. Now there's a whole concept of having shaft lean. Okay, this is for golfers that have high club head speeds, because you can deal off the club, turn your 9-iron to an 8-iron or 7-iron. It makes it launch low, but if you have high club head speed, you can have enough spin on the ball to still get height, and then it's an advantage for you because you're hitting it further. But for most golfers that are watching this video, we're new to golf, or we've been golfing for a few years, we may or may not have, the speed yet. We're still working on our contact, so we don't really want to return the hands too far left. I would rather have you, if you're topping it because you're not releasing, I would rather have you feel like you let the club go and bring it back to center. We don't want you to bring the handle backwards. That's adding loft and you're losing distance. But just like as soon as your hands and chest are turning together, and as soon as your hands get back to somewhat center, let that club go so it lines up somewhat back to where you started. Okay, so this is also a factor of squeezing too tight. So I see golfers really squeeze their hands really tight, and they can't release the club because they're squeezing way too hard. Okay, so you want to feel like you're just, whoops, you want to feel like you're just letting go softly so the club can brush the ground. Okay, next reason is tension, in the sense that if you shrug your arms too much, okay, I see golfers at the range or my students, they'll be tensing really tight. Everything is really rigid. So if I shrug my shoulders, you can see the club is coming in the air, and that's literally all you need to miss the ball or top the ball. So a little bit of club coming off the ground. Okay, so we want to feel relaxed, like our arms are falling. Okay, so our arms are loose and falling and straightening versus shrinking. Okay, coming up here. That leads us to the next reason, chicken wing. Okay, we'll see golfers reduce the distance. So let's say from my shoulder to the club head is 1 meter long. This distance is being reduced, or you can think from my grip to my chest. We don't want to shrink this distance. Okay, we keep this distance away from us. Hinge the wrist, right elbow's a little bit soft. Still got this distance, still got that distance. Wrist hits the ground, still keep that distance, and then we fold. Okay, we don't want to fold this too early. Okay, we want our arm to be straight through impact. Okay, so the reason for the chicken wing is anytime the wrist and the chest are not moving together. Okay, so we want the wrist and chest to constantly move together. As soon as you have a shutdown of the chest and the rotation, the club goes by itself, and then it ends up chicken winging. Okay, but if you can get the chest going with the chest is causing the arms to move, then you will not have that issue. Okay, so we don't want to chicken wing because our chest stops and our arms keep going. We want the chest to go with. The whole body turns to the target. So we hit down and straight arms and then fold. Another reason for topping the ball is actually when we do a scooping motion. So any way direction we hinge our wrist, it raises the club. So we want to raise it and lower it back to center, but sometimes people release and over release. Okay, so when we get this way, the club is raising. So what happens is people release early, and either that'll cause a chunk or they'll get out of the way of that, so they don't chunk it. The club keeps releasing, and the club, you're catching the ball on the way up. Okay, uh, that could be helpful for the driver if you need to like really release it to hit up on it. But the irons, we don't want that. We want this, we want to get this lead edge under the ball this way. We don't want it to release and go upwards. Now you're going over the golf ball, and that's not good. Okay, so just to recap, don't stand up so your head doesn't go up, your head doesn't go to the left, you stay centered. Okay, so you're staying centered by just spinning on the spot. We have a little bit of shift to our lead side, and then we spin. Okay, even in the follow through, the head is center. um, the timing of the release, don't hang on to it too long. By the time our hands get back to center, we want to release that club. We want to avoid a chicken wing. Okay, keep the chest turning, hit the ground, keep the chest turning, keep the arms wide. Energy is going towards the target, not lifting up. Okay, um, and yeah, just don't. And we don't want to feel like we're shrugging, we're too tight. We want to feel loose, let the club fall. Okay, let the club fall, let the club fall and turn. Okay, tension is a huge component of this. Okay, so grip is feeling like 3 or 4 out of 10. You can watch our video on staying loose, okay, and all the benefits of that. in terms of power and speed production. Check out that video if you have not yet. Okay, but the golf swing should feel really loose and you're brushing the ground. So if it's not working for you, you got to slow it down before you speed it up. Thanks for watching.